1, Budgeting, Saving, and Spending for Teens. I'm Caitlin Kim, a rising junior at the Badira School, and I'll be one of your hosts for tonight.
My name is Lucas Lee, and I'm a rising junior at Woodson High School. I will be your second host. We are part of the program BranchOut. BranchOut is a nonprofit program with Veritas Education Leaders that was co-founded by Dr. Yuxian Wu and Mr. Richard Wang in 2015. The organization has grown from 20 student volunteers to over 100 student volunteers yearly. Our high school student mentors come from over 50 different schools across 6 different states. We started out as a peer STEM mentoring program working at the community centers, homeless shelters, and county summer credit recovery programs, and have expanded into a community outreach program to promote cross-cultural understanding by featuring community heroes, creating research articles, and organizing community workshops.
As an award-winning community engagement program, we have received endorsement from the U.S. Congress, including those from Senator Tim Kaine and Andy Kim. Our Innovator program, focused on computer science and web development, has also won the U.S. Congressional App Challenge. Additionally, BranchOut was honored with the Gold Star Group Volunteer Award from the Fairfax Neighborhood and Community Services Organization. As part of BranchOut's goal to promote civic engagement, community, and STEM education, we're extremely glad to have you with us today. Before we start the panel, we'll be playing a short video celebrating BranchOut's 10th anniversary.
BranchOut is an award-winning youth leadership program founded in 2015. BranchOut has many chapters in major U.S. cities. For more than a decade, BranchOut has connected through actions. BranchOut not only promotes STEM education, but also cross-cultural understanding and civic engagement. Multiple volunteering initiatives developing social skills. Meeting Massachusetts State Auditor Diana DiZoglio at State House. Trash pickup at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Visit to a science lab at Harvard University. BranchOut focuses on building resilience, hope, and community, one story at a time. Empowering individuals to share their journeys. Empower, inspire, grow. Every year, 200 youth participate in the program and have helped over 1,000 students in various communities.
I just want to say thank you to BranchOut for everything that you're doing to be able to help support students, helps be able to support young people in our community, especially those in underserved communities.
I want to thank BranchOut for the opportunity to be part of this special celebration. I commend the BranchOut team and your more than 170 volunteer mentors on
BranchOut and make a difference. BranchOut offers several awards, including the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, Congressional Award for Youth Leadership, Congressional Award for STEM Education, Congressional Award for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Congressional Award for Humanity and Arts, and Congressional Award for Environmental, Social, and Governance. Scan the QR code and reach out today.
This workshop is going to be run a little differently than all of our other workshops. There are going to be multiple segments spanning over 3 hours. What you see on the screen in front of you is the schedule for today, with the different segments and the timings listed out. You are currently attending the Smart Money 101 segment of today's symposium, where we will be covering budgeting, spending, and saving for teens. This segment will be followed up by Investing for Beginners at 6 o'clock and ending off with How to Build a Resume and Preparing for Interviews at 7 o'clock. You're all welcome to attend as many or as few sessions as you like.
Our first panelist for this segment is Dr. Chris Ray, a nationally recognized executive, military veteran, attorney, educator, and nonprofit leader with more than 2 decades of experience driving organizational transformation, expanding economic opportunity, and building strategic partnerships that create lasting impact. In June 2026, Dr. Ray was named President of Hope Initiatives at Operation Hope, where he leads the organization's national portfolio of initiatives advancing financial capability, entrepreneurship, and AI literacy. He oversees programs including 1 million Black businesses, financial literacy for all, Hope Clubs, Hope Next Gen, and the AI Ethics Council, working with corporate, government, educational, and nonprofit partners to expand economic opportunity and financial empowerment nationwide. Dr. Ray holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in information systems and a Juris Doctor from William and Amp Mary Law School. He has completed executive leadership programs at the University of Virginia Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership, the UNC Chapel Hill School of Government, and Harvard University's Graduate School of Education.
The second panelist is Ms. Yanely Espinal. Ms. Espinal is the Director of Educational Outreach at NextGen Personal Finance and the best-selling author of Mind Your Money. Raised in Brooklyn by Dominican immigrant parents, she graduated from Brown University before beginning her career as a teacher through Tech for America. After paying off $20,000 of debt in just 18 months, she launched the YouTube channel Miss Be Helpful to help others develop the money skills she never learned in school, reaching millions of viewers. Today, she advocates for greater access to financial education through her leadership at the Next Gen Personal Finance. Her work with nonprofit organizations and her efforts to expand personal finance education for high school students. She also hosts Marketplace's teen-focused podcast, Financially Inclined, where she empowers young adults to build confidence with money and make informed financial decisions.
On behalf of the entire BranchOut Community Workshops team, we're extremely glad to have you with us today. Making money and managing finances will and always has been an important part of our modern society. To start this panel, we're going to ask some general questions first. If any of our panelists have any thoughts, please feel free to unmute and share them. Our first question, directed to all of our panelists, is: when you think back to your own teen years, what was a money decision you wish you had understood better, and how would that knowledge have changed your path?
Go for it, Chris.
I was about to say, go for it. Oh, ladies first. I'm from the South. Like, I'm sorry.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take that. Hi,
ahead.
everybody. I'll jump in with my answer, which is that I was very creative in high school. I went to a performing arts high school in New York City, and I was surrounded by a lot of very talented students. A lot of these students who were making money, whether that was because they were dancing on the subway or whether because they were performing. Some had YouTube channels early when YouTube first came out. Others were, making arts and crafts, selling their artwork. And we all would just spend all of our money to buy things that we wanted. We would get French fries after school or chicken wings. We would get a McFlurry at McDonald's. We'd get Starbucks. And we would just waste all of the cash that we made. And it's not that we made a lot of money. It's just that the little bit that we did make, we would just spend it all. We never knew that we could or should have specific goals for the money besides just spending it. And so if I could go back in time and rewire my teenage brain, I would do it in such a way where I could understand that money has many different purposes in life. One purpose is to spend, for sure, because yes, we have to enjoy our lives and we work hard for our money, and that money should be able to buy us nice things that we might want. But that's just one of the purposes of money. If you spend all your money on that, you got nothing else to show for all your hard work and your money. So there has to be another bucket, which is saving for future goals. And then another bucket that might be giving, philanthropy, if you want to give to others. It might be another bucket that's just, investing in things that I want to pursue. Maybe I want to buy a house, or I want to pay for college, or I want to start my own business. And so having multiple purposes for your money is something that is very important. Today, I have many different purposes for my money at all times. My money is working for me like little army soldiers. I put them to work. My dollars are always working for me in different ways. But when I was a teenager, my money only worked for me in one way, and that was just to spend. So I wish I could go back in time and teach myself that lesson early in life.
I would just add, to that, and that, she just summed it up. It is, I put it in one word: budgeting, right? That's the word that I wish I knew existed when I was a teen, is understanding the power of budgeting. And because I did not know what budgeting was, just like she said, money will come in and money will go right back out. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s where I met an individual. She had an extraordinary story. Her family had taught her about budgeting very, very early, which is another part of the challenge is that you have some families who don't talk about money enough, or when they do talk about money, they talk about it in a very negative connotation. And so they're not teaching young folks about money. They're talking about, this costs too much, or this is what it is. And so they're not really talking about how your money can work and grow for you. But this individual that I met, her family taught her the power of saving early, right? And so what she did was that from a very early age, her family started saving dollars that was given to her for every special occasion. So think about folks in your family who give you money for your birthday, maybe for the holidays, maybe for graduations or different things that you achieve. $10 here, $50 here, $100 there. And so her family initially started saving this money, and then they showed her around 10 or 11 all this money that they had been saving that had been given to her. And so she continued that whole journey, that whole process all through her teen years. Do you know that when she was in her mid 20s, she had enough money to put a down payment on a home because she had basically acquired over $20,000 in that time span of her life of gifts that had been given to her. Now, of course, no one thinks about it like that. No one saw it like that, because as soon as you get it, it goes right back out. But she ended up saving like over $20,000. And so when it was time for her, when we graduated from college, and she settled in exactly what city she wanted to live in, she already had a down payment and was able to purchase a home at 23 years old. I mean, just of course, everyone in our peer group, we were blown away because no one could ever imagine having $20,000. But that was from the power of budgeting. And I love how Yanely, did I pronounce that right?
Very close. Yanely.
Yanely.
Yes.
Yanely. I love how she said about the spending part, the savings part, the giving part, and then how your money can grow for you, right? And so what she did was she spent some of her dollars to get things that she wanted as a teen. She understood the power of saving, to put money away. She gave to charities, a few here and there. So she understood the power of giving, because at the end of the day, the more you give, the more you will return, because that's the way the universe works. Then, of course, and then she started learning how to invest early, and it was growing the money that she was saving, right? So that's why she was able to get to $20,000, because she opened up and started going into mutual funds, all those things early in her life. So
Wow,
budgeting.
these are really good points. I really liked how Miss Espinal, you said things about having different buckets to put your money in, having a saving bucket, a spending bucket, and for philanthropies. As a teenager myself, I like spending my money on like food and shopping. So I can definitely feel like that people can agree with at a young age. You do like to, once money comes in, it goes out. And also, Dr. Ray, how you had that example with one of your friends having almost like $20,000 by by her 20s. I think especially with a lot of people having maybe some debt because of college and because they didn't have saved money at a young age. I think that's a really good point that future individuals could have in the future. And now I'd like to switch on to the next question, which is, what's a common money mistake you see teens make, and what's a practical way to avoid it?
Oh, well, I think you said it. I think you said it earlier. Money in, money right back out. I think that's one of the common mistakes that teenagers they do. And there are some, and the reality is it's just a lot of it depends on your station in life, right? In terms of what your background is, what your current socioeconomic experience is, right? You have some folks that are in really poor situations. And so getting money is a big deal because they don't see, they're watching everyone else around them enjoying life. And for them, it may be tough, the fact that I'm not getting the newest sneakers, or I'm not getting the newest outfits, or I don't have the latest game to download, or whatever the case may be. And so when I get the money, all of a sudden I'm spending it. So there's a psychology that comes to having money. And a lot of people develop it very early, and a lot of it is built off of your station in life. And so, again, if you don't have someone that's early in your life teaching you about budgeting, teaching you about the power of money, and developing the right skill sets on how to save and how to invest, and having those kind of conversations. I mean, the mere fact that I'm on a webinar, with a group of teenagers, I mean, you all are way far more advanced and further along than I could say that I was, at this stage of the game. The mere fact that you are trying to be exposed to it, but the reality is that most teenagers, they're in interesting financial situations, and money in, money out, and they're not thinking about tomorrow, and about saving and saving early. I'm a father, and I was sharing with my kids, about the power of compound interest now, right? So the power of, we own a family business, aside from all the things that I've done in my life, I got a company as well, and, they work for the company and they have IRAs now. And I was showing them how, by contributing to a Roth IRA now at 11 years old and 15 years old and 13 years old, and I was showing them the power of what will happen when they are in their mid 40s, and how they will have $3-4 million that will already be compounded from us investing this early in their life, and then them taking it on once they get to their 20s. But it's tough to share that with teenagers when you're like, hey, put some of that away. And it's like, no, I need to get this shirt that has an interesting graphic on it so I could, match my friends. So
Yeah, I think I would agree, definitely. And I think the last three words you said were my answer: match my friends.
Yep.
We constantly trying to match our friends. And that's the biggest mistake we can make in our teenage years, because we should be able to make decisions about money based on what we actually want in our heart, in our stomach, in our gut. But instead, we look at our friends and say, oh, they got that. They got that fit, or they got those sneakers, or they're buying this food, or they've got these concert tickets, or they bought this new game, they got this new phone. And so now we decide we want to have it too, not because we want it to, but because we don't want to feel left out. We just want to fit in with the friend crew. We want to fit in with the cool kids. We want to fit in with our friends. And I really feel like the strongest money skill that you can develop at an early age is the ability and the skill to say to yourself, I do want to hang out, but that specific thing is not really how I want to spend my money, because then it means that I can't do these other things with my money. It means I have to basically sacrifice these other things that I want in order to get this thing that I'm only doing it because I'm trying to fit in with my friends. I'm not really doing it because I want that. And I think this is very hard to do, because even adults have this problem. But I do think that if you're an adult who still has this problem, it's because you didn't get a chance to start practicing defending yourself and resisting against peer pressure early. So the earlier you start thinking for yourself, being an independent thinker, and being the kind of teenager who asks yourself, do I really want this because I want it and I think it's cool because I really love it and it's going to make me happy? Or am I just trying to get it so that I could fit in? And if you can start thinking that way, constantly challenging yourself, asking yourself those questions, then over time you start to flex this muscle that you have in your mind, which is to really check yourself and make sure that every time you spend money, you're spending it for the right reason. Because the worst reason to spend money is peer pressure, because then later on, you're going to be like, I shouldn't have done that. And you can't get your money back. And you don't even really want the thing that you wasted your money on. You were really only doing it because of the peer pressure. So it leads to a lot of regret. And so I think that the younger you are, if you can start training your brain to think about that, the less regrets you'll have over time with how you spend your money. But I will say this, at the same time, I will say, you have to make mistakes. You have to, because mistakes are part of success. I don't know a single person who I have met that is successful, whether that's successful with money, successful with their career, successful with their business, successful with home ownership, successful with their family, successful at life in whatever way success looks for them. They always have a story about mistakes that they made. So I don't want to encourage anybody listening to say like, okay, well then I have to make sure I never make mistakes with money. No, that's just not realistic. You're going to make a mistake with money. We all make mistakes with money. But if you can try to make mistakes that teach you fast what the lesson is, and then you learn the lesson, and then you adapt and grow and get better, and then learn the next lesson, rather than continuing to make the same mistake again and again and again, and learning through so many different mistakes rather than quickly learning and getting better. So in my case, I made a lot of mistakes because I kept on letting peer pressure influence me, and I kept doing things because I wanted to fit in and I wanted to be cool, instead of asking myself, what do I really want to do with my money? Is this really how I want to spend my money?
Thank you for both of your great insights on like what is one mistake teens can make. Dr. Ray, I really liked your point that there are different backgrounds and financial backgrounds people have, especially in Northern Virginia. We're one of like the most wealthy counties nationally and internationally. So I think that's a really great point you make. Uh, Miss Espinal, I really like your point that we should not give in to peer pressure. I personally have done that a few times, but that is good because I've made mistakes and I can learn from that and be experienced from that. Tying both of your insights, I want to ask a quick follow-up question, which is, what do both of you think about like the 24-hour rule, where you wait 24 hours before making a big purchase?
Oh, I live by that rule. That, I mean, personally, anything that's a huge purchase over, and I've set a certain threshold for myself for certain personal items, and then there are the big ticket items, that unless it's something that is absolutely, if it's a want, 24 hours, absolutely. It's something that I absolutely need, then we go past that. And I've grown to a place in my life where I know the difference between my needs and my wants, right? And so, but I personally live by that rule of any major purchases or any huge ticket items, 24 hours to think about it, to sleep on it, to discuss it with my significant other, so that we're not going to be out here spending dollars that we don't need. And so it's important that that we do that, and that's important to me. So yes.
Yes, I agree with everything you just said. You know what I would add to is that, unfortunately, you have to do this yourself today because of the way that things have changed over time. In particular, two ways. One, companies realized that it's easier for them to make money off of you if they make it fast for you to spend your money and easy for you to spend your money. So now there's a such thing as one click buy. I'm sure you all have seen it when you shop on Amazon. You could just click one click and you buy it right away. Back in the day, it was impossible for you to just one click and buy it. You had to click on the item, read the description and the specs. Then you had to click purchase. Then it would take you to the next screen. Then you had to click confirm my purchase. By the time you go to pay, you click 4 or 5 times. You're like, this is taking forever for me to buy this thing. But that's because they really want to make sure that by the end screen, in case you change your mind, you might say, oh, man, you know what? Let me not. And you can save some money if you change your mind and decide not to spend. But if they give you the opportunity to think twice, you might change your mind and then they don't make money off of you. So companies have now made it super fast for you to spend your money. Like just press it one time and that's it. That's it. You ordered it. So back in the day, there was also something called layaway plans. I know y'all probably a little too young and you probably don't remember it. But when I was a little girl, my mom would take me to the store and she would say, which dress do you like? And I'll be like, Mommy, I like the pink dress with the big poofy sleeves. And she'd be like, okay, we're going to get you that dress. But she didn't have all the money. And back then it was not so easy for you to just get a credit card or for you to use Klarna or Afterpay or Affirm or any of these things, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle. None of these things existed back then. So she would go to the store, to the merchant and say, hi, I want to go pay for this at the register. And they would say, well, if you don't have enough money, we'll put this on a layaway plan. So that means they would put a number on a little ticket put that ticket on your dress and put it in the back closet in the store. And you got the other ticket with the same number. So that means that dress with the same number as your ticket, that's my dress. That's our dress that we're holding it on layaway. Now, every Sunday after we left church, we would walk by the store and my mom would put another $20. And then next Sunday, we would leave church, we'll walk by, she'd put another $20. So little by little, we would go paying into the layaway plan so that after, baby, if the dress was $100, then after 5 weeks of paying $20 every Sunday, on the 5th Sunday, we would go home with my dress for Easter. And we would finally be able to take the dress home. But nowadays, that does not exist. You can walk into a store and say, I like that dress, but I don't have enough money. And they'll say, that's okay. You don't need to have enough money today. You can buy it. You can pay for it later. Buy it now and pay for it later. You can buy it now with a credit card. You can buy it now with any kind of payment that you have. We will take any buy now, pay later programs. We have a loan program where you could sign up for a store credit card. I mean, they will just do anything to get you to sign up to an agreement plan where you don't really pay for the dress today. You will pay for it in the future. And anytime you agree to pay money in the future, that is debt. You are now going into debt because you owe the money for this thing that you took that you didn't really pay in full. So I try to encourage young people today to do anything you can to create a layaway plan for yourself, because the stores are not going to help you create a layaway plan. They just want you to give them an agreement, take the item with you and pay little by little over time. They might charge you extra interest fees. They might charge you a payment fee. You know, they will make more money off of you that way. So they want you to take your time paying them little by little over time. And it's in your best interest to actually save up the money on your own. And when you get the full amount, then you go buy the thing that you want and you pay in full. But they don't, again, technology and a lot of, corporate greed, unfortunately, has led us to the current economy where it's just take it right now if you want it. Don't worry about the money until later. And that creates this cycle of normalizing debt. So for things like that don't even make sense to go into debt for things sometimes. Like nowadays, you can go on to Uber Eats or Grubhub or DoorDash, and you can use buy now, pay later to order burritos from Chipotle. And you can pay for it with buy now, pay later, meaning you're not going to pay for all the burritos today. You're going to get the burritos today and you're going to eat the burritos today, but you're not going to pay for it until next week and the following weekend. Come on. I mean, it's starting to get to the point where they want you to finance and put a plan in place to pay for little things that we shouldn't be normalizing that kind of debt. It's silly debt. Debt should be something like college, student loans, or a home mortgage for a house. These are big, important things that most people can't afford all that money up front. So they go into debt versus going into debt for a burrito or for a couple slices of pizza. Like that just does not make sense. So I want to encourage every young person listening, whether you're in middle school and high school, or if you're in college, especially if you're in college right now, because they're going to try to make it tempting for you to spend your money right now in the snap of a finger. Just go spend the money and don't think too much about it. And you have to tell yourself, oh, that's bad. The more time I take, the better decision I'm going to make. The faster they try to rush me, the more likely they're going to get my money from me without me being too sure that that's really what I wanted to do with my money.
I just want to just add really quickly. I mean, what she just said is just so powerful. And I don't think folks, if you don't, basically the simple rule today is if you don't have the money, don't spend it. If you have to basically finance a burrito, I mean, buy now, pay later for a burrito and a whole drink. I mean, I just want you to sit back and think about what that sounds like. You're literally, by the time you end up paying for that burrito and that drink, it has already gone through your body. And the thing about it is that burrito, which would have been $7, is now probably $17. And so they're banking on you to do that. And I think what a lot of people do not know is that there are literally human, what is their titles? There are individuals that work for corporations that their sole job is to identify the human characteristics that humans have been well studied to where they know like she said, when Amazon first came out, it was a bazillion clicks to get to ordering, to where now you just push purchase now, because they understood the power of their bottom line going up by studying human behavior and taking out those multiple steps. We have been studied enough to where that's where we are. I just, if you cannot afford a burrito, like I was upset with one of my daughters a couple of weeks ago. She ordered off of Uber Eats, like you said, a, a bottle of cranberry juice, a bottle of cranberry juice. And by the time it got to the house, it was $27 for the for the for the bottle of cranberry juice. And I'm not talking about like a big old bottle of cranberry juice. It was just some little bottle because she didn't want to wait, for us to go grocery shopping the next day. So needless to say, I've taken away her Uber Eats privileges. But anyways.
No, you didn't take them away. She lost them.
That
I would
part.
also say this, that word, is a big famous word nowadays. Everybody loves to use it. It's called instant gratification. So
Yep.
if you start to hear people talk about instant gratification on social media and on the news and the headlines, don't say, oh, that's just the boomers making fun of young people trying to act like we want everything instantly. No, it's not your fault. It's the way the companies are starting to take advantage of us because they know that we're human. We're going to want things instantly. We want instant gratification. That's just how we are. But back in the day, it wasn't so easy. It wasn't so instant. And so they are the ones that are making everything instant to try to trap us. And so your job as somebody who cares about their money and their financial goals is to protect yourself and put your fists up like, no, I'm fighting back. I'm going to protect myself. You trying to take my money and you want me to instantly give it to you? No, no, no. I'm going to instantly put it in my own pocket. I'm going to instantly deposit it in my savings account. I'm going to instantly deposit it in my brokerage account so I can invest it. That's what I want to do instantly. And they are at odds with you because you want to grow your wealth and become wealthy and successful financially. And they want to take your money away from you so they can get rich by selling you things. So we constantly have to remember that we're not on the same team. They're going to act like they're on your team. They're going to be like, yeah, this dress looks so good on you, girl. You should buy it. No, you're not on my team. You just want me to spend my money at your business. And I'm only going to do that if it aligns with my goals and my financial budget and my plan. Now, I'm not going to do it because you're telling me to do it. I'm going to do it because I decided that it was right for me.
Yeah, thank you. That was a lot of great points you both made. I definitely agree that convenience is a huge part of society today. The buy now, like pay later. I know one automobile company that lets you buy now, pay later for your convenience, but it can cause you to go in debt, even more debt. And by the time they fix your car, it's already been like a couple of months. Um, I'm going to transition a little bit, and if any of the viewers have any questions for the panelists, feel free to ask in the chat. Or if our panelists see any questions, just feel free to answer them if you need to.
Clicking on the Q&A box. Let me see if I see anything come through. There we go. We got one that says, hi, hello to you, anonymous attendee. I would add one thing to this conversation. I would just say one of the things I wish I was doing when I was a teenager, I often thought to myself that I don't really have to learn something unless it's for school. I don't know why I had that mentality. I just did. Like, I would be like, I don't have to read books unless it's for class. Like, if my teacher tells me I got to read a book, then I'm going to read a book. But outside of school, I wasn't really going to read a book because I just thought of it as homework. And researching something, watching a video or a documentary about something, or interviewing someone, I wasn't doing that unless it was for a project for school so I could try to get an A plus. And I cared about my grades. I did. I mean, I got a full scholarship to Brown University. I was that kid who got A pluses, all the classes, and I had a perfect GPA. So don't get me wrong. I did my work and I did well in school. But outside of that, I was not really paying too much attention to learning more, to like trying to use my smarts outside of the classroom, just like I did inside the classroom. And so nowadays, when I clock into work and I clock out of work, I'm done with work, but I'm not done with learning. I'm always learning. Like I'm trying to watch documentaries that teach me about things that I don't already know. I'm watching videos online to teach me. I'm taking courses. I'm, asking, interviewing people that are more successful than me so that I can find out what game they can give me about how I can level up. And if there's something that I want to achieve in life that I have not achieved yet, I'm going to go find somebody who did achieve it. And I want to see if they can give me 10 minutes of their time so that I can pick their brain and ask them things. And I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to grow. And I just feel like when I was a teenager, I didn't do that enough. Even when I was in college, I was just like, oh, school's over. Okay, I'm gonna go hang out. Oh, school's done. Or we're gonna go to eat, we're gonna go bowling, we're gonna go to the movies. And it was never like we're gonna go and have a conversation about how much are we able to save and can we start investing together and choosing investments together and like learning about these things together. Could we start a business together? Is there something that my friends and I share a passion for that we can turn that into a project in the community? Or just being the kind of person who cares about learning all the time, growing all the time, and doing that when it comes to your money. If you feel like you're saving enough money, great. Okay, but now learn about credit and see if you can understand having a good credit score. Oh, you figured that out? Okay, great. Move on to investing. Do you feel good about investing knowledge? Is there something that you need to learn about investments? Oh, you feel good about the basics of investing? Okay, let's move on. What about taxes? Do you understand the basics of taxes? And so there's always more to learn. And I don't want you to feel like you have to always be working, because you can take breaks, you can go hang out. But if you're always taking breaks and always hanging out and only doing homework for school, when are you putting some time on your calendar to make sure that you are personally developing yourself? Not academically for school, not professionally for work, like personally, like doing it so you can be the best person that you can be, and so that you can help other people and your family and your friends, and you can be the one that helps others level up. So I just wish I had a mentor or a coach to kind of tell me that when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, because I didn't figure that out until I was in my 20s. And I'm glad I did figure it out in my 20s, but I wish I knew it earlier. Oh, I see some good questions in the chat. I'm going to let you take those, Mr. Ray. Go for it.
Well, just really quick, I want to add on just really quickly for folks to also know that your financial health matters early. So do not think that you can ask many of your parents. For those of you who have parents that are being raised by them, unless you're a guardian, but whoever, right? The reality is that when you apply to a major job, they do a finance, they run a credit check on you to determine if you are going to be a good fit, because the way that you manage your money will determine if you are a good fit. If you want to go into the financial services industry, for those of you who may want to be accountants, or you want to be in the banking and financing space, they do a background check. They not only do a background check, but they run a financial check on you as well. And if your credit isn't where they need to be, now you have to have that uncomfortable and awkward conversation with a hiring manager about your finances. And so that's something that you need to keep in mind. For those of you who want to work for the government or work for major contracting companies, your security clearance will be determined by your financial health, and they run a background check. So if you mess up your finances early, then that's going to impact your hiring capabilities for opportunities that are out there. Someone asked in the chat, how much percentage should teenagers spend versus save versus invest, right? And so I would say, especially in the beginning, if you're just starting off, I would say just make it all equal, right? Initially, make it equal so that you can see. So for every dollar that you receive, 25% of it should go to your spending. 25% of it you should save. 25% of it you should invest. and 25% of it, you should think about charities that you want to give to. So that's 25 cents, right? For every dollar that you receive. Now, what you end up doing is you start making those subtle adjustments as your money starts coming in and making that determination. But there's 4 ways to use your money. It's you got to spend it, you got to save it, you got to grow it, and you want to be able to have a philanthropic side of your character as a human, right? And so those are the 4 ways that your money, will work for you and help, and then help others. That's a part of the journey. And then you make a determination somewhere along the lines that, okay, I'm not going to give 25% to spending. I may need to increase it now based off of something I have going on personally, or I want to increase my investments now. So now you're taking 30% or 35% of that dollar now compared to when you started off. You started off when it was just 25% of every dollar that you received.
Okay, thank you so much for your points. I really liked how you said it's really important for people to have like a project or something that they really care about and be able to put money towards that for both our panelists. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much to both of our panelists for their thoughts. We hope that the viewers will continue to learn about how to budget, spend, and save in the future. Financial literacy is an essential skill that impacts people at every stage of life and will continue to play an important role in helping people make the correct decisions and achieve their personal goals. If you'd like to learn more about BranchOut and our future panels, please check us out at www.velbranchout.org. Like us on Facebook at Veritas Education Leaders or follow our Instagram at BranchOut Veritas.